Hello, boys and girls, and welcome. And I hope you are as excited as I am because we'll be covering more about Python. Today, we'll be covering tuples, we'll be covering if-else statement, we'll be covering while loops and for loops. So get yourself a hot chocolate and let's get started. Okay, boys and girls, so we are back in our code editor and we are talking about tuples. Admit it is one of the data structures. And unlike sets, tuples they don't remove duplicates. So if a bunch of same strings or data in a tuple, it won't remove it. Just like lists, it won't remove it. Okay, and tuples that are unordered, and also they are unchangeable, meaning you can't just change the tuple itself, the contents of the tuple. For security reasons, this is actually a good thing. Like tuples, what you need to know that tuples are often used in security applications. You don't need to know more about this. You don't have to go into detail, but just so you know, tuples are often used in security applications. So as you can see, I already created a tuple named names, and I just tossed in a few names: James, Hannah, and Tom. We can print it out so to see just to see that actually it is in there. Print names, flip over to terminal, arrow up, hit enter, and surely enough you can see that indeed we have a tuple. James, Hannah, and Tom. And just to prove that it is really a tuple, what I can do is, as I have done before, you can just print out with the statement type, hit Ctrl S to save, up arrow, and sure enough, you can see class tuple. So it is really a tuple. Another thing I would like to point out here is that just like with lists and dictionaries, the same way with tuples, it can be created on the way. We don't have to necessarily just put a bunch of things or names in parentheses. If we want, we can do names equals tuple. And to Python, this is the same thing. Like, for example, if I just take off all the names like this, to Python, these lines therefore are identical. It will treat it the same way. Okay, so let me just put it there. And just like with lists, we can access individual members or individual items in the tuple by just indexing it. Let me show you. You can do names. And for example, if you want just to get the first element, do remember how we access the first item in list. We need to use index 0, right? Because computers and Python, they count from 0, not from 1. So 0, Control S to save, run, and sure enough, in your terminal you should have James. If I try, what should I do? What should I put in there instead of 0 to get Tom? Did you guess 2? Did you say 2? Control S to save, and sure enough, Tom is in terminal. Awesome stuff. And I believe I can just show you the same way we find out the number of elements or number of items in the tuple just by running len on it. So we can just type in len, short for length. Let's match parentheses, Control S to save, up arrow, and hit enter. And sure enough, we get 3 because we've got James, Hannah, and Tom, 3 items. That's correct. And just to prove to you that we can't actually change items in a tuple, I can show you that, for example, if I try to change the first element, the first item, and I will try to change it to Peter, for example, this will throw an error. For security reasons, it's just tuple isn't designed to be changeable. Okay, Control S to save, I will run it, and sure enough, type error. Doesn't support item assignment, which is telling us that we just simply can't change it. Unlike with a list, can you remember how can I turn a tuple, what used to be a tuple, into a list? What should I do here? Can you remember? What indicates list? It's brackets, it's still brackets, but there are different ones, right? There are square ones. Okay, so now I turn names into lists, and on line 4, I'm changing the first element into Peter. And on line 5, I'm printing out the contents of the list names. Control S to save. I will run it, up arrow, and enter. And as you can see, the first element, even though it started off as James, the first element is now Peter, because on line 4 I have changed it. I have assigned the first element or first item in names to Peter. And sure enough, we are getting Peter as the first element. Good stuff. Okay, that was just to prove to you that tuple indeed can be changed. And is a good thing. Okay, and now let's talk about if-else statement. If-else statement is allowing us get a different output from our program, from our script, depending on certain conditions. Let me show you what I mean. I can, for example, I can create a variable is awesome. If I can spell, is awesome. And now I can create an if statement. If is awesome is true, then I want to just print out absolutely Python for making games is awesome. Otherwise, if is awesome isn't true, we will print out I hit my head today. Alrighty. Control S to save, and now we can run it. And then we can see that indeed it checked the value what we actually assign to is awesome. Do you remember what true is? What kind of data type? Come on, boys and girls. We know that, right? It's a Boolean. That's right. It's a Boolean. So if is awesome is true, it will print out absolutely Python for making games is awesome. Otherwise, if it's not awesome, then it will print out I hit my head today. And we can change it to whatever we want. Yeah. So for example, we can play with, let's go with strings, okay? Name, and we can go with Kate. If name is, we need to actually use equal signs here, double equal sign. If name is Peter, then we want to print out something else. Print out Peter is in the name variable. Otherwise, we can print out it is someone else. Control S to save. Let's head over to terminal and run it. And it is somebody else. Yes, because here on line 5, Python is finding out, is determining what value the name holds. And name holds Kate, not Peter. So it can run this statement. It can't, because it's not true. So it goes over to the next line, and in else statement it says if it's not Peter, then print it is somebody else or it is someone else. And that's what Python did. That's what Python has done here. It printed out the else statement because name isn't Peter. So we got exactly what we expected here. And also, boys and girls, we can play with numbers here. For example, if our number is, let's go with 20. 20. And what we can do here is, if number is greater, if number is greater than say 10, we will print out the number is definitely greater than 10. And if it's not, I will just print out it is not. Control S to save, head over to terminal, up arrow, and run it. And we can see indeed on line 5 again Python was checking the value of number. Here it is 20 because on line 3 we've got 20. So if number is larger, or sorry, greater than 10, then it will print out the number is definitely greater than 10. Otherwise, it will print out it is not. Let's change this to 1, number 1. What do you think Python will output now? Let's check it out. Control S to save, hit up arrow, and run. And sure enough, I'm not surprised at all. It says it is not. If-else statements can actually be as complicated or as sophisticated as you want them to be, boys and girls. I want to show you just one step further. I don't want to be making this too complicated, obviously, but I want to show you some of the capabilities of Python language. So for example, we can do also number 1 and another variable, because if-else statement can actually check multiple conditions, not just one. Okay, I will give you an example. Door is open. I will give it false. Okay, so here, if number is, let's go with less. If number is less than 10 and door is open, it will print out is less than 10 and door is open. Let's go with that. By the way, if I don't specifically type in or check, for example, if I don't do door is open is true, like this, it will automatically check for its truthness. I'm pretty sure it is a word. It is a word. But pretty much, if we leave the variable, if it's a Boolean variable, and we leave it like that, without is false, is true, it will automatically determine whether it is true or not. So basically, at this point, what we have on line 6 is checking number is less than 10 and door is open is true. Even though I did not specifically check for truthness like this, it will still check for its truthness. Okay. And if I want to check for falsiness of that variable, I do just not door is open. So basically this, what you can see here, boys and girls, is if number is less than 10 and door is open is false, but it is, see, I specify it in differently. So not door is open is the same thing as is false. Python sees these two the same. But okay, I can just leave it like that. It's false. And now, okay, let me just show you the first example. And okay, number is less. Number the condition is wrong. Control S to save. And sure enough, we get the else statement. And why we get the else statement? Because the number, even though it is less than 10, number 1 is less than 10, but the door is, it checks if the door is open is true here. But on line 4, I've already determined it is false. So for that reason, it jumped into else statement and printed out the condition is wrong. If I want the line 7 to be run, if I want it to be output, what should I do, boys and girls? Tell me, what should I do if I want the line 7 to be printed out? One of the could do not, Control S to save, and now I will just run it. And indeed, again, number is less than 10 and door is open. Even though it's actually not, because we assigned false to door is open, but the logic still remains. Okay, and there's another keyword I would like you to learn, which is the or. And let me just show you example how you might want to use this. Okay, so for example, if a number is less than 10 or door is open is false, it will print out it will print out the line 7. So basically what it reads, what Python will interpret or read is, if number is less than 10 or the door is open is false, it will print out line 7. So either can be okay, either can be true, and it will print out line 7. If it's not, it will print out the line 9. And we can check it. Control S to save. Hit up arrow, enter, and again, it's printing out the same statement. Why? Because it checks if either one of those conditions is true. And in this case, both are true. You can check, let me just change this to true. What do you think, boys and girls, will be printed out? Hit Control S, we power the terminal, and we still get the same output. Why? Because even though on line 6, the number, even though we've got door is open false and door is open true on line 4, we still have a true condition here. It's this one. If a number is less than 10, and when Python sees that, okay, I've got one true value here, and the other one is door is open is false. It doesn't match. It's not false. It's true, but it still evaluates. Okay, I've got one condition that is true, and that's all it matters. So I will print out the line 7, because either condition can be true. If one of them is true, I will print out that statement. Control S to save, up arrow, and you can see it's still true. So we can use AND keyword, or we can use OR keyword, depending on what we are trying to do. You use AND keyword if you want multiple conditions to be true at the same time. You use OR keyword if you're checking just for one particular condition. If it's true, it can be one item or one condition or another condition or another condition or another condition. They can be like 5 or 6. But if one of them is true, it will execute it. It will run the print statement or whatever you have on 7. Okay, boys and girls, and now we have exercise. Write a code where variable door is open is true. Then write an if-else statement where Python will check whether or not door is open is set to true. Use as few words as possible. If it's true, then print out you can walk through. Otherwise, print out no, you cannot walk through. Give it your best shot, pause the video now, and in a moment we will check our work. Okay, so did you get this right? It wasn't that complicated, but it does require some exercise. So kudos to you. Well done if you managed to actually create this if-else statement. Okay, boys and girls, and now let's check your understanding. Create a variable door is open and give it the value of false. Then create a variable door is locked and give it a value of true. Write an if-else statement that checks if door is closed and is set to false and door is locked is set to true. Use as few words as possible. If both conditions are true, then print out you cannot walk through. Otherwise, print out you can open the door and walk through. Pause the video now and give it your best shot. See if you can do it on your own. And I will see you in a bit. Okay, so what about this one? We used actually AND keyword in this case to make it work. So did you get it right? If you didn't, just correct your mistakes. It's completely okay. And let's crack on. Okay, boys and girls, and now I would like to tell you about for loops. For loops are super useful if we want a repetitive task to execute or to have it run at once without having to repeat ourselves over and over and over. Let me show you what I mean. If I want to have printed out this statement, for example, Python is awesome, and I want to have it printed out 5 times. Yeah, normally what we would do is this, right? We just copy paste print state 5 times. Control S, over the terminal, up arrow, and have run. And surely enough, we are getting Python also 5 times because we have 5 print statements, so it does make sense. However, when we are more experienced programmers, we want to do things efficiently, in more elegant way. So the alternative to this is, so as you can see, I have commented out the first 5 statements because I want Python to ignore those first five statements. I want Python to pay attention to what comes afterwards, which we've got with the for loop, and we are using the keyword, or I should say built-in method, range. Range in Python means that Python sees it and it knows that we are interested in particular range of numbers. Okay, and in this case, we want Python to go from 0 to 5, but not including 5. Yeah, remember that Python and computers, they count from 0, not from 1. Okay, so basically it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but including 0, it's already 5. Yeah, so it will still print out 5 times whatever is inside that for loop, and I can prove that. Okay, Control S to save, up arrow, and sure enough, we get Python is awesome, but only, as you can see, only 5 times, not 10 times, because the first 5 statements were commented out. Python wasn't paying attention to it. It's for humans to read it, not for Python to read it. So you got 5 times Python is awesome, and look, can you see the difference? Boys and girls, look at this. Can you see the difference? 5 lines. We've got 5 lines that says Python is awesome, comparing to 2 lines. We've got 2 lines here, and it does exactly the same trick. The output is completely the same thing. Yeah. So for that reason, it's very much encouraged and recommended to use for loops in these cases, because it's much better if you have use for loop. It will save you sometimes 20, sometimes 30 lines, comparing to if you actually if you actually typed out like 30 lines of code. Yeah, so It is recommended for obvious reasons. And by the way, I want to show you that actually I use statement here, but in Python that's called iterator. Iterator means that it basically every single time it loops, it runs, we can do something with that item inside the range, inside that for loop. Yeah. For example, I can show you what the statement is each loop, each time it runs. Statement, Control S to save, head over to terminal and run. As you can see, it really is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because in this particular case, statement represents those individual numbers in the range. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, not 5. And another thing I can show you is that it doesn't have to be numbers. Yeah, we can list of items. For example, the names. Let's go with James, Kate, and Julia. Control S to save. Can you tell what will be printed out? Let's check it out. Control S to save, head over to terminal, up arrow, and run. And sure enough, James, Kate, and Julia. So because in this case, statement represents each individual name. So whatever is inside that for loop, the statement, this iterator will represent whatever is inside that for loop. Next, I would like to show you is that we can actually do something about it. We can actually do something with the statement. Yeah, it doesn't have to necessarily just print it out those individual items. What we can do, we can slightly amend it. Yeah, we can slightly change it. For example, we can do statement, and we want to add something to it. Yeah, I will put a space here, and as a matter of fact, what we can do here is that we can make them one family. Yeah. So James, for example, I can add a surname to those names, Corner. Okay. And now, if I run it, Control S, hit Control S, head over to terminal, up arrow, and hit, and you can see now we are adding last name Corner to each of those names. So we've got James Corner, Kate Corner, and Julia Corner. We made them family. Okay, now let me just take off these 5 statements. We don't need them anymore. And I can show you that we can actually use for loops for dictionaries as well, because sometimes it's very useful. Okay, so let me just show you how it works with dictionaries. We create just a simple dictionary. Names and professions. And we can do, okay, let me do the different type. It's a dictionary, and dictionary can be, for example, let's do names, and he's architect. He's an architect. Then Kate, and she is a teacher. And then we've got Julia. Notice the syntax or the way I actually create dictionary, because I know I could use those curly brackets. I want to show you that you can use the dictionary keyword as well, but the creation of the dictionary is slightly different. I just wanted to show you that. And Julia, she's a doctor. Okay, and now what I can do, I can just mention in the dictionary in the for loop like this. However, what I need to do, if I'm actually iterating over, if I'm going over dictionary, I need to actually tell the Python how to go about it. Because we can go with keys, we can go with values, remember, dictionaries, and we can go with items. In this particular case, since we will be looping over key value pairs, remember, dictionaries, key value pairs, we need to actually tell the Python that we need to go over the individual items. And instead of statement, we need to give it key and value. Okay, so now what it will do, it will print out, let me just change this as well, key and value. So now it will be iterating over all the keys and its their associated values. Control S to save, and arrow up, and there you go. So we've got James, and he's an architect, Kate, she's a teacher, and Julia, she's a doctor. This is just another example how for loops can be super useful in when we use different data structures. And now I would like to show you that you can actually combine for loops and if-else statement. Yeah, it will be a very simple example, but it will just give you an idea the capabilities of Python. Okay, let me just show you. For example, we can do this. We can create variable called teachers, and we can make it a list. And now what we can do is, as the Python will be iterating over, going over those different values, we can check if a value is teacher. Okay, I've forgotten. Can you see that? Can you see that? I've forgotten something here. I've forgotten the keyword if. If value is teacher, can you see I've got a colon here? If value is teacher, then I want to add it to the teacher's variable, to the list. How do I do that? Can you remember? I think there was a keyword append, right? It's teachers, append, and that value. So now Python on line 5 will be checking each and individual key and value. And on line 6, when the value, it will be checking if the value is teacher, then it will add the teacher, that value with keys, to a teacher's variable. Control S to save, arrow, and it's actually executed, but we are not printing anything out, right? So what we can do on the next line, outside of any for loops, yeah, we can just print out teachers. And you know what? It actually print out only the keyword teacher, but it doesn't tell us much. Let's do not the value, but the key, because the key will be Julia. Sorry, it will be Kate. Okay. So now we can hit Ctrl S, head over the terminal, up arrow, and as you can see, the only thing that's being printed out is what the content inside the list named teachers, and is Kate, because in that dictionary she's the only teacher. And now, boys and girls, I've got exercise for you. Create a list named My Family and give it values daddy, mommy, and auntie. Use for loop to run through each family member within the list and add string I love something to each member and print it out. In a moment, you can check your code. So, did you get this right? Did you get your for loop to run through your family members and print and have Python to print out I love before each of the member? Did you get it? I bet you did. And now, boys and girls, I will tell you about while loops. While loops are super useful if you want to repeat certain tasks, if you want Python to do certain task for us, as long as a certain condition is true. Yeah. Let me tell you an example. We can get Python to print out today is beautiful day, and we can get Python to have it printed out until certain condition, certain variable becomes false, for example. I think showing you is worth more than 1,000 words. So let's get to it. Okay, boys and girls, we can go with numbers. We create a variable number and we give it the value of 1, for example. And now look at how while statement is being created. While number is less or equal to 10, print today is a beautiful day. Okay. And now if we run it, there's going to be problem. There's going to be problem because I will tell you why. On line 3, we are telling Python that the variable number holds the value of 1. And on line 5, we're telling Python basically to run this print statement, today is a beautiful day, as long as the number is less than 10. But the thing is, we are not changing the value of number. The number remains as it is right now. It will remain number 1 infinitely, forever, because we are not changing it. So that means that every single time Python checks the value of number, it it keeps it keeps seeing it's a it's still 1, it's still 1, it doesn't change. So it will just keep printing out today is a beautiful day. And you can end up actually having your terminal to be flooded with thousands and thousands and thousands of print statement which prints out today is a beautiful day, which will computer, we don't want that. So for that reason we will uh, we will always have Python to check what the um, what we will do is we will increment the value of number. Okay, so we can do number plus equals 1, and this way every single time when Python runs the print statement, it will also increment by 1. It will add 1 to number. So that way we can ensure that we will ensure that we won't crash our computer. That the while statement will actually finish at some point. Control S to save, up arrow, and run it. And as you can see, indeed, we've got today is a beautiful day 10 times in our terminal. It finished. It started here, and it was changing the value of number every single time. And when number was changed to 10, the while statement became false and finished. I can show you actually. Don't take my word for it. Print number. Print number. So every single time when it changes, Python will show us. Control S to save, up arrow, and hit enter. And as we can see, every single time it changed. So first time it was number 1, so it just remained there. But once we changed it, it was number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 10. So yeah, that's it. But yeah, you really need to be mindful of this, because this can actually crash your game. It can crash your program. And in the future videos, we'll be making games. So we need to be mindful that while statements are super useful, but we need to be very mindful of this implication. We don't want our game to crash. And now I'd like to show you that we can actually use if else statement with while loop. Yeah, we can do something like this. number. We can go with 10, and we can do while number is greater than 0, we will just yeah, we can just decrease the value of number by 1. So we can do plus, we can do minus equals 1. This, what we will just do, it will, from the number, it will it will deduct 1. It will simply just deduct 1, and that's pretty much it. But what we want also do that if number is 5, we want to print out the number is 5 now. Print number. Okay, so basically what it will do now is it will be deducting, as long as a number is greater than 0, it will deduct 1. Sorry, I should say subtract. My apologies, I meant subtract. It will subtract 1, and when number is 5, it will actually run the if statement. It will print the number is 5 now, and then it will just carry on with whatever is after the if statement. Control S to save, up arrow, and we can run it. And we can see we've got 9, 8, 7, 6. The number is 5 now, so it printed out the statement, and it carry on 5, 4, 3, 2 until 0. Good stuff. Before we wrap up today, though, boys and girls, I want to tell you very briefly about F strings, because it's a rather important concept. It's very much used in everyday software development and game development. What the F strings are, it's allowing us to actually modify strings depending on the value of the variable. Yeah. So I will just show you some examples. Okay, I can do, for example, age is 10, and I can do something like this. Print my age is, and into curly braces I can do age, but why is it called F strings, right? So I need to add F, and F comes before the leading quote. Single quote or double quote, it doesn't matter. Python will still treat the same. So as you can see, I've got F in front of first single quote, and it changes the syntax. It changes the coloring of the statement, right? So now I can hit Control S. I can head over to terminal, up arrow, and it's giving me my age is 10. So basically, it's when we use F string, the F before the single quote, it will treat the variable, it will pass in to that string. So now what I can do, for example, I can, add 10 to it, hit Control S, head over the terminal, up arrow, and sure enough, the variable is changed. So it changes the string as well. It doesn't have to be number. It can be pretty much anything. I can show you, for example, we can do word is awesome. Word is awesome. And here what I can do is and instead of age, I do word. Control S to save, and now I can just go over to my terminal, up arrow, and run it. And we can see Python is awesome. It basically passed the word, the variable, into the string. Python is word. Yeah. So this was passed into this string. But if we take off this F F in front of the first quote, it won't work. This will actually error out. I can show it to Control S, head over to terminal, and as you can see, it's giving us literally, it's giving us the Python is word verbatim. Yeah, it's not substituting. It's not actually parsing the value of word into it. So that's why the F is there very important. That's why we call it F strings. So there we have it, boys and girls, and we have covered a few more topics in Python. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe so you don't miss a thing from me, and share it with other boys and girls, with your friends, right? And I will see you next time. Bye for now.